I think that the move to big data from CompuStat and even beyond uh, is um, is probably lamentable, but I don't see a path out of it as long as we have all of the reviewers that we currently have, because people, I mean, and not without reason, because you really can't make great inferences much of the time based on cross-sectional data. But the action research question, and I think behind John's question, um, because this is going to sound psychedelic as well, so as you know, it's one of my favorite words. Uh, we're living in a time now where so much of what happens in organizations is mediated online and happens through apps and through software. So every company you know today is using an enterprise resource planning system that knows when people check in, and they might be wearing a tag that tracks them all day at work and when they take their bathroom breaks. If you go into any retail store, Accenture has installed software to keep track of every employee and what their productivity is, and did they upsell that lady on the silk scarves we're trying to get rid of. So to the extent that organizations run on software as they do, this creates this really interesting opportunity that we could start to make organization design and job design more of an experimental science. So when we study job designs, of Adam Grant's dissertation, he went to a call center, and half the kids got a speech by someone who benefited from their work and the other half didn't, and that was the intervention. Cool, no, it's an understandable intervention, but today those guys would all be on web-based software where you could implement a Latin squared design for 2 weeks and then shift to someone else. This sounds psychedelic, but I had a doctoral student, Teddy DeWitt. You should all hire him. He's a genius. And he's working with a company that is an office cleaning company where the people that work there are using augmented reality goggles to go about their day. And so a very sort of standard, task has become this very high tech job, and it means that people at headquarters can say, all right, all of the people cleaning on floor 5 get the following job design. When they walk into the office, a little video gets triggered that said, hey, it's David here. I love the way you clean my office. Thank you so much. And you meet the beneficiary, just like Adam Grant did with his dissertation. And the people on floor 4, you don't get that. You get a picture of a frog or something. And so that sounds a little weird, but we could now be doing the kind of A/B testing that they do at Facebook or Google. So, Google will say, half the people get this headline, half get this headline. What do they click through? We can do that in organizations now. And so I think the prospects for experimental organization design and experimental job design, we're just getting into that world. And so I'd love to think, people that know more about action research, can we think about ways to use the current technology in organizations to implement experiments in real time? And I think this is very exciting for a macro person. We always have archival data on stuff that happened in the past, and then we make up stories about why the experimental condition worked the way that it did. But now you can very realistically implement the kind of A/B testing that happens in tech companies, but in the organizational world. So if you're thinking about a dissertation now, I think this is going to be a really interesting opportunity. Learn some computer science and find ways to collaborate on companies so that you can sort of do action-based research sort of in the wild, in a sense.